Amigos, Brad Evans here for the GamingJuice.com. It's your Week 5 Fantasy Football Free Agent Frenzy. And before we get after it, friendly reminder, go to my partners at Betalytics.com and sign up for promo code JUICE. That's promo code JUICE for 25% off. I use the site every stinking day and all my various fantasy football and sports betting research. If you're a player prop enthusiast like yours truly, use Rachel Kryshak's awesome algorithm to assist you in all of your sports betting endeavors. And again, her projections quite helpful when making some of those tough start-sit decisions in the world of fantasy football. Again, promo code JUICE. That's promo code JUICE. Get you 25% off today. All right. All of these guys available in under 60 or only rostered under 60% of Yahoo League. So widely available to say the least. These are guys that just missed the cut on this week's episode and generally worth about a $2 to $6 investment, pending the outcome. In particular, with one guy of the MRI results. I'll explain that in a minute. Again, top of the list here, Darius Slayton. Malik Neighbors, sadly, donezo for the year with that ACL injury. Slayton worth about $2 to $6. He's a big play receiver, but not really going to accumulate a whole lot of targets except for those occasional explosive pass play opportunities. Wan'Dale Robinson, also widely available right now. Has a little bit more upside, I feel, in standard PPR, half-point PPR leagues. Could be about a 5 to 7 target accumulator here the rest of the season, again, with Malik Neighbors on the shelf and sideline. Number 3, you got Malik Washington. Tyreek Hill went down with a gruesome leg injury. Absolutely gnarly. Witnessing that live on Monday Night Football. Washington, kind of a gadgety, do-it-all guy, will get the occasional rush yards. I love continuously betting the over at his rush yards prop. On his role as a pass catcher, also about to surge in this Miami Dolphins offense, and one that's going to be playing from behind a lot. So definitely worth about $4 to $5 in fab cash spend there in deeper leagues. And now, here is where things get a little bit unknown because we don't know the status at tape time. The MRI results tied to Bucky Irving. He had those late on Monday. That information has not been divulged publicly as of yet, whether it's clean or not. So who knows? But Rachaad White in shallow leagues right now widely available and somebody that need to throw some cash at. Obviously, if Irving misses substantial time or God forbid is out for the rest of the season, got to break the bank for Rachaad White in those 10-team formats. Meanwhile, in deeper, more challenging leagues, Sean Tucker, I'll be a sucker for him, especially at a low-dollar investment. Again, pending the results of Bucky Irving's MRI. We don't even know what body part it pertains to, so stay tuned on that front. All right, it's time to get after it with another Fantasy Football Free Agent Frenzy Countdown. At numero 5 here on this week's edition, let's throw a dart and hopefully hit a bullseye with one. Jackson Dart of the New York Giants, 23% rostered in a single quarterback format because he's got no business being available in a super flex or 2 quarterback league. I think he's worth about $4 to $7. Look pretty savvy for the most part in his NFL starting debut. I think obviously he's going to show significant improvement as the season wears on in its reads, progressions, and deliveries as a pocket passer. But of course, down Malik Neighbors, that's a major dent in the armor overall and definitely drags down his value. Only threw for 13 to 20 attempts for 111 yards in his NFL debut. Did have the 1 touchdown, and of course that coming on the ground, 10 carries for 54 yards. So you could say he's like Jalen Hurts light, kind of a Josh Allen, very light version there at quarterback. So because of the duality, it really raises the floor for Jackson Dart. And again, still a work in progress. Quarterback 21 in his debut as a starter, an adjusted completion percentage in QB 17 and average depth at target. Really ho-hum there. However, next 3 games at New Orleans. Love that matchup. They're bottom 5 in pass EPA defense. Wrote about them on the gamingjuice.com and my quarterback Flames. Somebody consider even in a 12-team format, especially with 4 teams on bye. And then after that, you get Philadelphia at home. What nothing to do with that matchup. And then on the road against the Denver Broncos. What nothing to do with that matchup either. So again, I know he was a quarterback 10 on the week, but a guy that is probably going to live in that QB 15 to QB 20 range most weeks in and out. So again, kind of a Justin Fields like, not even light, but like contributor to fantasy. So in those single quarterback formats, if you're looking to try to take advantage and maximize the matchup with one of your center callers on bye, look no further than the New York Giants fresh starter in Jackson Dart. Again, we're 4-7 Buckaroos in Fab Cash in those one QB formats. Numero Quattro on the Week 5 edition of the Fantasy Football Free Agency Frenzy. Let's go with Darren Waller. He's a baller. He's a shot caller. Who knew that he had anything left in the tank? And man, did he prove it out on Monday Night Football. Only 8% roster right now. I think it's worth $10 to $15. If you need an upgrade at tight end, maybe got multiple flexes in your league. Waller is a guy that played over 50% of the snaps, had 4 targets, 3 receptions for 27 yards, and not one, but 2 touchdowns in his Miami Dolphins debut. Maybe it was the black jerseys. And he's like, this is going to harken me back to my best days, my glory days. There with the Raiders. Maybe that unlocked the potential. Obviously, a guy that's extremely motivated. Obviously, a guy, too, is going to see a rise in overall target share with Tyreek Hill Dunzo for the year. Again, with that nasty leg injury. Look over the next 3 games. For Waller, he gets the Carolina Panthers coming up. They have allowed the 4th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. You get the LA Chargers, 19th most to opposing tight ends. Not great there. And then Cleveland, who has been robust, to say the least, in terms of its pass defense. They've allowed only the 20th most fantasy points at tight ends. Again, the matchups aren't going to be great against LAC and against the Brownies, but this week, plug and play upside galore tied to Darren Waller. So again, if you need that upgrade at tight end, $10 to $15, I think is worth every single penny there in Fab Cash. Numero Tres on the Week 5 edition of the Fantasy Football Free Agent Frenzy. Let's work in some running backs. That's going to really be the theme moving forward. It's Miller time. Tastes great, and hopefully it's going to be quite filling with Kendre Miller of the Fleur-de-Lis, the New Orleans Saints, only 5% rostered. I think he's worth $10 to $15 as well in that Fab Cash. A guy that is a clear second fiddle to Alvin Kamara, but there are rumblings, there are rumors that maybe Alvin Kamara will get a one-way ticket out of town by the trade deadline, which is November 4th, and that could really lock Miller for the stretch run of the fantasy season. In the meantime, he's probably going to get roughly around 35% of the opportunity share. Highly impressive in Western New York this past week against the Buffalo Bills. 11 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown. He is number 2 overall, according to playerprofiler.com, in juke rate. He's number 30, which is okay, in yards created per touch. Number 9 in yak per attempt, track at PFF at 3.71. And he's also forced a dozen missed tackles on just 28 rush attempts. You look at the next 3 matchups for Miller. You get the G-Men, dead last in rush EPA defense. You get New England, number 7 in that category. And then my Chicago Bears. And you see what Ashton Jeanty did to them in the last week. And they're completely gummified, only number 21 in rush EPA defense. So I think Kendre Miller will have some standalone value, even without Kamara still on this roster. And if he gets dealt, all systems go later on in the season. So $10 to $15. Throw some of that cash at him, and hopefully you score his services. Also, do not forget to go to my website, thegamingjuice.com, you jackals. It's absolutely free. I don't charge you a single penny, not a dime, for all the outstanding content, award-winning content this FSWA Hall of Fame writer is churning out weekly. I already got my quarterback and running back fantasy flames for Week 5 live. All of my Week 5 position rankings, the 1.0 version, officially available there on the website. Going to be tinkering with those throughout the entire week. My always free, transparent, and public spreadsheet lives there with all of my bets. Lane Lundy's bets also live there on his spreadsheet. Hockey season right around the corner, and that man knows the puck and making some bucks. You got to ask me a question, click Ask Brad. Fire that off. I'll get back to you at my leisure, at my convenience. And again, I don't charge you a single cent. So go to thegamingjuice.com. Sign up right now. Click, converse, and cash. ... Maybe. All right, numero dos here, the Week 5 free agent frenzy for Fantasy Football Countdown. Gainwell, an appropriate last name, and he certainly lived up to it. Across the pond in Dublin, staying across the pond are the team that he victimized, that being the Minnesota Vikings, going to play in Jelly-Oat, England this week. But speaking specifically about Kenneth Gainwell, why he's number 2 on this list, man, did he ball out against Skull. A guy that was the second most valuable running back in fantasy for the week. 19 carries, 99 yards, a pair of rushing touchdowns, also 6 grabs for 35. So no matter if you're in a PPR league, half-point PPR league, a standard ancient knuckle-dragging league, the dude got it done. For those of you that were opportunistic after the news, Jaylen Warren came out that he was inactive due to the knee setback that he had been battling through the entire week. I think Kenneth Gainwell is going to have some standalone value if Warren does return here in the near future. Of course, the Steelers on bye this week, and Warren will likely be back after that. But Gainwell, probably guy, may get 8 to 12 touches per contest. Is a respectable number 29 yards created per touch, number 7 in fantasy points by opportunity, number 20 in yak per attempt, 3.40. He's also forced 9 missed tackles, which is top 20 at the position as well. After the bye, he gets the Cleveland Browns. Not a big fan of that matchup, considering Cleveland number 6 in rush EPA defense this year. Then at Cincinnati, the Bengals are done. They are broken. They are busted through and through. He's got a lot of flex appeal in that game. Cincinnati number 27 in rush EPAD. And then Green Bay, following that, just a middling number 18 and rush EPAD. So Kenneth Gainwell certainly has some sexy appeal. I wouldn't break the bank. $10 to $15. Maybe you want to go in the 15 to 20 range. I think that's acceptable. Anything beyond that, I think is you're slugging a silly sauce, because Jaylen Warren will be the leader in opportunity share once healthy. And maybe Caleb Johnson actually gets involved. Did last week, and his role will probably slowly ramp up as the season progresses. Numero uno, the Week 5 free agent fantasy football frenzy countdown, Woody Marks. X marks a spot. Woody is a guy, certainly with a lot of sexy appeal for fantasy purposes. Only 33% rostered. And folks, beep, beep, beep. You got to back up the truck here. Break out the yeah, my little friend, the sledgehammer, because that's what you do in the piggy bank. It's going to cost probably 50 to 60 bucks of $100 budget in Fab Cash. At least 60% of your budget, whatever you got left, because Marks is here to stay. I think he's overtaken officially the Chubb Club as the main man. Still going to be an RBBC, but maybe Mark's going to be more 60 to Chubb's 40 rest of the season. Highly impressive game this last week. RB4 finished, 17 carries, 69 yards and a touchdown. Also 4 receptions for 50 yards and a receiving TD. A guy that's way up there in yards created per touch at 4.57, number 6 in fantasy points per opportunity. Just a vanilla, rather middling number 33 in yak per attempt. He's only forced 4 missed tackles, but the opportunity is now. He's a better pass catcher than Nick Chubb, though Chubb's gotten more involved in that vicinity as a check down weapon 4-1 CJ Stroud. But you look at Mark's upcoming, you get the Baltimore Ravens, number 29, sadly, are the Ravens right now getting their feathers plucked in terms of ground defense. And that's our number 29 ranking rush EPA defense. Then the bye week, and then at Seattle after that. And Seattle's number 3 in rush EPAD. But again, because of the multidimensionality of one Woody Marks, he may be like a 12 to 14 touch per game guy moving forward, getting 2 to 3 receptions at least per contest and giving some of that goal line work as well. Just more explosivity, more juice in the legs compared to the damage Nick Chubb. So Woody Marks, again, break the bank, folks. $50 to $60 of your fab cash. He is my top waiver wire target here entering week 5. All right, I am out of breath and out of time here on this edition of the Fantasy Football Free Agent of Frenzy. Do me a favor, by the way, and go to thegamingjuice.com and sign up for a free account right now. Check out new episodes, the Feed 5 podcast with myself and Nathaniel Lundy. New episode drops on Thursday. We'll have another on Friday. I'm breaking down all of our favorite bets, not only in the NFL, but we'll work in some college football and possibly some MLB bets as well. The MLB postseason is officially here. Good luck and acquiring and filling all those gaps in fantasy. And until next time, adios, amigos. Go get Woody Marks.